Hey guys, here we are, Long Haul Larry, sitting with Big Blue back in the shop, and you guys saw me do the brakes on this thing, buffed the wheels, got all that all taken care of. The next thing that my boss asked me to do was to do a service. He wants me to do an oil change, grease it, check everything over, make sure everything's all good. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. So first thing I'm going to do, because I still have it jacked up, and I still have it jacked up from last night, and doing this and doing the brakes and everything, is I'm going to I have this tire over here still jacked up in the air, so I just released the brakes, and then I need to grease everything, and I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if it's a proper way to grease it and stuff, but it's the way I feel it should be greased. It's the drive axle has two grease zerks on it. The U-joints have a grease zerk on each side, and I've always noticed, and this is the way I was kind of taught by a guy, that the grease zerk has two grease zerks on it, and if you put a grease into one grease zerk, you'll get grease that comes out of like one or two of the ports, but it doesn't come out of all four of them. So the grease is not getting throughout the whole U-joint. It's just coming out the side that you're putting it on. So I always like to leave a tire jacked up in the air, and that way I can spin the axle, and I can put grease on one side of it, spin it around, put grease on the other side. So we're going to get started with that, and get going here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grease all this since it's all back here and everything. I'm going to do all the greasing up underneath the tractor, grease everything up here. And then I'm going to actually pull the truck out, and I got to put it up on some jack stands and stuff in the front so I can get my buckets up underneath there and drain the oil, start pulling all the filters, inspect everything. I got an air leak that I need to find out too. I've had it this week. I've been noticing I've been losing air a little bit when I've been parked. So I need to find that air leak and take care of that too. So, and I also have a couple other things too. My boss wants me to replace the trailer plug-in, the receptacle on the tractor that goes to the trailer. He wants me to replace that receptacle. He said that the Kenworths, they have a habit of this happening, and then the ABS will disconnect or whatever. So he wanted me to replace that, which I'm doing. And then he also wants me to replace the trailer cord too. I'm not really sure on why on that one, but I'm doing what I'm told. So I bought a new trailer cord, and I'm going to replace all that. So we'll get started. Alright guys, I'm going to start greasing this thing up, getting everything all greased up from the back end up to the front end. I already have the fifth wheel grease. This is a special grease that you use on there. It's a red tacky grease. It seems to work pretty good on there. Works pretty good on there. I like this stuff. But basically, I'm going to start going through my brakes. And the number one thing you want to do with doing this is always carry a rag with you. And, you know, just kind of clean off the end of the grease zerk before you put the grease on there. Otherwise, you're just pushing the dirt inside there. And I use a rechargeable grease gun. It's an electric grease gun. It's made by DeWalt. It has a rechargeable battery on there. And the last place that I worked as a mechanic, he had this big 55-gallon drum thing that you hooked an air line up to it. And it worked good because he did a lot of trucks. But when you don't do that much, you don't need all that. But I also don't want to be squeezing it. So I can just hook it on there. You know, and clean off your grease fittings, people. This 50 wheel doesn't have any grease zerks on it. Some of them do. Some will have grease zerks like right up in here to put grease in where the pad is, but this one doesn't. Big old goober right on my cap here. Alright. You can see there's one right here. It's on the slack adjuster. And then you're going to have one, you're going to have two of them on the drive axle. And this is where it's going to come in handy, having a tire. See, it's right there. Having a tire up in here, because I can just spin it to get it to where I need it to be. And then I could check on my drive shaft to check it. I could check my drive shaft to see if it has any play by just putting my hand on there and just moving it up and down. Just move it up and down and see if it, you know, moves, if it goes, you know, it has a little noise to it or moves around just a little bit. There's also going to be grease zerk right here, because this is a spline drive shaft, because these axles move independently, so they have to be able to move back and forth. So this shaft here is splined, and this an exterior spline, and this has the interior spline, and it moves together. Has a seal right on there that just tightens right up. But so it needs a little grease, and there's also a grease zerk here on this one. So we might as well hit those two, and then we'll spin it. There we go. Now we just spin our tire over. See, and we're going to see, it's right there. Right there. Move that back just a little bit. Go. Check this one, this side of it. It's getting tight. We can hit this grease zerk over here. See, we got nice brand new brakes in there. Might as well jump out and climb up in front of that one. Get up there easier. Got our one right here in front of our drive shaft here. Same thing here. This has a spline shaft that goes up inside there. We could hit this one while we're here, since we got this one right here. Everything's nice and tight. Should have threw my creeper underneath here. Carrier's good. We're gonna have those couple up here yet, and then we can get out of here. We'll see if we make it. I just ran out as it started to smooch out of there. It happens every time. You always run out when you're underneath here. But I'm actually done because this truck does not have the clutch plate that you grease up here. It has a remote grease tube. Otherwise I would have to grease the clutch. The rod bearing. Well, it looks like I just found my leak. It's right here. It's this quick disconnect. It's leaking. I hate these things. I really hate these quick disconnects. You can hear it right there. So I'm going to have to get back up underneath there, pull this out. Sounds like I got another one up in the front too. Alright. We can do the front end up here. You can see these brake pads, the front brake pads are really good. They're in good shape. You got your two kingpin ones. There's one on the bottom, one on the top. You got one here on your slack adjuster. Got one on this S cam. And then there's going to be one on the steering arm too. Where is it? It's right on the bottom. And the easy way to check for the steering arm is just to grab the shaft and try to move it back and forth and see if it's real sloppy. See if you can just like turn, you know, dunk, dunk, dunk. This one's nice and stiff, turns real nice and smooth, so we're good. Got a big old goober on me. There we go. Go do the other side. Same thing on this side. Kingpins, top and bottom. S-cam. You got your slack adjuster. This one's got two steering arms because you got the one that comes out the steering box right here, and then you got the one that goes over to the other side. That's what steers the other side tire. And then right here is your clutch. And there's gonna be one more right here. And this steering arm. And that should be it. I'm sorry. I forgot the steering shaft here. It's good. Gonna have to turn the steering.